Hello, my name is Larry, and this is a Warparty tutorial, a brief overview of Warparty, a fantasy-based war game for 2 to 4 players. In Warparty, we have the forces of the humans and the dwarves that are facing off against the forces of evil, the goblins and the undead. So it's a 2 to 4 player game where the players are allied together and they actually share their moves simultaneously. So both the skeletons, or the undead rather, and the goblins would move at the same time, as would the humans and the dwarves. There is 3 phases to every turn. First phase is the movement phase, where a player will be able to move all of their units. Then comes the combat phase, where any combat is resolved, as well as any dungeon exploration is resolved. And then lastly is the conquering and the purchase phase, where players will put down control markers in newly conquered territories, purchase new units, upgrade their capital city, engage in any kind of rituals or technology research, in addition to purchasing additional satellite cities. So let's take you through the first round of the humans. Here during the movement phase, the humans will spread out and move all their units. Since there's no combat in the very first turn, we'll place our collection markers so that there is no combat phase in the very first turn. Typically for the very first 4 to 5 turns there is little to none combat. And really for the first 4 to 5 turns it's more of an empire building game where you expand, embark upon certain strategies, whether you're going to upgrade your capital city or go with research or go with fast moving units. And then by around turn 4 or 5 we start to see combat. So this would be the humans' first turn, and they are now going to collect a total of 11. The reason why they get 11, there is 5 for their capital city plus 3. These 3 territories are each worth 2, and they get 11. We'll put 11 on the collection board so we can see that they're collecting 11. Every turn they're going to collect whatever this is. So with 11, what they're going to do is we'll say they're going to buy a stables for their capital city. This upgrades their capital city. It increases their collection by 1 on the collection board, so now their actual income is 12. The stables cost them 6, and they're going to get 5 change. That is their change. That's 5 they'll be able to save for next turn. The stables is the prerequisite for the knight unit. Knight is a very powerful and mobile unit, and now they'll be able to purchase knights because they have the stables. Let's assume that all other armies have moved, and for the purpose of this demonstration we're just going to focus on the humans for right now. On the humans' second turn they move this large stack. They're going to go ahead and continue moving it towards the goblins, and then they'll move the rest of their units out here to expand and collect more territories. So now that the humans have collected, or conquered rather, 4 new territories, we'll put in their control markers, and we will increase their collection accordingly. Those territories are each worth 2. Their collection is now 20. For 20, what they'll purchase is they're going to buy the knight unit for 16 and a marketplace upgrade for 9 for a total of 25. That's the 20 that they collected this turn plus the 5 they had saved. That's 25, and that would be their total purchase. The market actually gives them an economic bonus of 2. So we're going to move them from 20 collection to 22 collection on the collection board. And on the humans' third turn, they will continue to expand. And these territories without numbers are still worth 1. So we're going to go ahead and increase their collection by 5 more. For a total of 25. And on this third turn, once again, we're assuming that all other armies have moved. The dwarves are moving simultaneously with the humans, and then after the forces of good move, the evil would be making their moves as well. But on this third turn, the humans have 25, and they are going to spend 12 for 2 satellite cities. So the satellite cities, the expansion cities, are worth, they cost 12 each, and they're going to buy 2 of them. And we'll put them down here. We put them face down. We put them face down because it takes several turns to build these satellite cities. The humans get a change of 1. Now the placement of the satellite cities is strategic in the sense that the city over here that is close to the goblins is what I would consider an offensive city on this side of the board. It's the closest route to the goblins that they could place on this turn. The city over here is more of a balanced city. It is somewhat offensive against the undead, Placing it here would be more offensive, it would be a quicker route to the undead, but placing it here also seals off this corridor from invasion from any of their enemies. So they buy the two cities, and it will take several turns for those cities to be fully built. When they are, they'll receive 4 income for each city, so that would be a total of 8 more income. But in addition to that, the cities are a point of troop disbursement. Also during this turn they would have moved their knight up. Let's say they move their knight, and the knight moves 2 as a 2 movement as well. So the satellite cities are a place of troop disbursement. They give you income of 4 each. They're both assets and liabilities, as they are a tremendous target for your enemies, as well as a great place for you to place additional units. Let's take a quick look at the combat system within Warparty. And here we are going to have 2 undead skeletons that have managed to make it this far into the human territory. And we are going to have them be attacked by, let's say, 3 human soldiers. I'm going to include also a human archer in this battle. Okay, so we have 3 human soldiers and 1 human archer. And the humans are attacking, so they are going to roll first. Now, on every unit, you'll see an attack strength as well as a defense strength. In order to score a hit on an enemy unit, you need to roll your attack strength or less. So we have 3 human soldiers. They're each attacking at 3 or less. We'll roll 3 dice, and we want 3s or less to score hits on these skeletons. Those are 3 hits. In addition, the archer needs to roll a 4 or less. So we're going to take that roll right now. The archer has a higher attack strength than the soldiers, but you'll also notice the defense strength is less as well, so they're more offensive in nature. We need a 4 or less to hit with the archer, and that's a total of 4 hits altogether. So now these skeletons are not immediately removed or destroyed. They have an opportunity to defend against these attacks, and their defense strength is represented here in the lower left-hand corner. So they have to defend a total of 4 attacks. They both have a 2 defense. We'll roll 4 dice, and we're looking for 1s and 2s. Unfortunately, we had 1 save, but 3 hit, and there's only 2 skeletons. So these skeletons are destroyed. Both these skeletons are destroyed. Because they are the defender in the battle, they get 1 final attack. We flip them over like this to signify that they have been destroyed. Because combat is simultaneous, these skeletons are going to get 1 final attack before they're removed from the game. The skeletons, remember, have the same attack strength as the soldiers, a 3 and a 2. Now, the skeletons can only attack the soldiers. They cannot attack the archer, and the reason for that, you'll notice in the lower right-hand corner there's an R2. This stands for row 2. In order to attack anything that has a row 2, you need to eliminate all the front row units first. So all the soldiers, or if the knight was in the battle, or any heavy infantry, all that would need to be eliminated first before they'd be eligible to attack the archer. So the 2 skeletons will make their 2 last attacks. They have to attack the soldier, they can't attack the archer. They need 3s or less, and they both fail miserably. So the skeletons are eliminated, and then, assuming all other combat has been concluded, at the end of this turn, the humans would put in another control marker into this territory. We'd take out the skeleton control marker, and then what we would do is adjust the board accordingly. Humans would go up 1, the undead would go down 1 as well. So the idea is also to not only expand, you also want to take territory away from your enemies. And that will, of course, increase your production ability as well as decrease their production ability. Within Warparty, there is also very much the fantasy element of dungeons, a role-playing element, if you will. Every army has 3 heroes that can explore dungeons, fight monsters, gain valuable treasure, gain experience, and even go up levels. So let's take a quick look at how dungeons work within Warparty. Here we have 3 undead heroes, and only heroes can explore the dungeons. The dungeons located throughout the map, we have 6 in total. We have 4 on the periphery and then 2 in the center. These 4 in the periphery are what we call Tier 1 dungeons. These 2 in the center are more difficult Tier 2 dungeons. So we have a full party of level 1 undead heroes that are going to explore the ancient sanctuary. Each hero has their own hero card. And on the back of the card is a little bit of information about the hero in terms of how much experience they need to level, what their attack is, their movement is, etc. In addition to having these cards, the heroes that are wizards, like Fraculon the Lich, and priests, like Carnissa the Wraith Queen, get spells. They each start with 2 spells, and these are the spells that we've selected for Fraculon, and these are the spells that we've selected for Carnissa the Wraith Queen. Okay? Each of these would choose 2 out of 5 possible spells to start the game with. And the spells that I've selected for this particular scenario, this particular dungeon exploration, are well suited for exploring the dungeon. Although they can be used effectively to destroy their enemies as well, but this set of spells will work well in the dungeon. Upon entering the Ancient Sanctuary, we'd roll a dice to see what we would find. Oftentimes, more than 50% of the time, it's a random monster card that's drawn. So we're going to say, in this particular event, it's a random monster card that's drawn. We'll come over to the random monster deck and select and draw a random monster, and we find the Elf Champion. Alright, so the Elf Champion is actually a fairly difficult level, the Tier 1 monster, if you will. And if it were the human heroes or the dwarf heroes that found the Elf Champion, he'd actually become an immediate ally to them, and they would have rescued them from this dungeon. But instead it's the undead, and they are going to fight the Elf Champion. And I'm not going to go through the whole example of combat using these spells. That would take a little bit longer, but for the sake of this demonstration, we are going to say that the undead are victorious in this battle. Although the Elf Champion's pretty tough, and maybe he would have eliminated one of the heroes, maybe the warrior hero. Shredmar the Rotwolf is the undead warrior. But we're going to say for the sake of this demonstration that the Elf Champion is defeated, and now the undead would get to roll for money. They get 4 extra crowns. Crowns are the form of currency in Warparty, and they also get to draw a random treasure card from our random treasure card deck. And here they have found the Orb of Relocation. Okay, so all 3 of these heroes would get treasure from this battle. Would get experience from this battle. They'd each get 15 experience for fighting the Elf Champion. But one hero, in particular, would get an additional 20 experience for acquiring the Orb of Relocation. And we found out, after reading this, that only wizards can use this. So this has to go to Fraculon. This becomes his property. He's going to have a total of 35 experience, whereas the other 2 heroes would have 15. And that's just tracked right over here on the Research and Experience tracking board. Once heroes get to 50 experience, they gain a new level. They get new spells or new powers, and if they're heroes, they get, warrior heroes rather, they get additional hit points. So that is just a brief idea of how dungeons work within Warparty here. But it's not the only way that heroes work within Warparty. Heroes are also used often, not to explore dungeons at all, but solely to attack and destroy enemies. They are powerful fighting units within their own right. So, in addition to exploring dungeons with heroes, building large armies, there are also different ways to upgrade your various armies' infrastructure. We saw some of it happening here with the humans, buying these upgrades. There are technology tracks. Every army has what we call a Tier 3 unit. The Tier 3 unit is that army's ultimate unit, and many games are won with or without them because they are the ultimate unit, but they take a lot of time and a lot of money to acquire these units. So sometimes going with more basic units or going with heroes as an alternative or some combination thereof is a quicker route to victory. But the 4 Tier 3 units, let's take a look at the goblins for example. They have a troll giant they can summon into the game. The troll giant takes 5 hits to kill. It's a real tank, and but the only way it can come into the game is if one of the goblin spellcasters uses the shaman's hut and summons the troll giant into the game. The dwarves, on the other hand, they have the dwarven airship, which is loaded with cannons and musketeers. It flies 3 spaces and does devastating damage. It's the only flying siege weapon in the game, and it can destroy a city in 1 quick turn. The undead have a bone dragon. This is also highly mobile. It's pretty ferocious, and it can be acquired through a couple of different ways, but using various infrastructure within the undead, acquiring things like the Pit of Eternal Burning Flesh and many other upgrades for the undead capital city, the Bonelands, is one route to acquiring the Bone Dragon. And lastly, the humans have Lord Ankin. That is the leader of their knights, the leader of their cavalry, and individually he's the weakest of all the Tier 3 units, but if you put him in conjunction with many of the human knights, he can become one of the most powerful Tier 3 units. So within Warparty, there are a lot of different strategies that you can employ, a lot of different strategies that you can use, and we just really scratched the surface of it today with our demonstration. I'd like to thank you all for listening to our overview on Warparty. We are on pre-order with Lock and Load Games. hopefully a pre-order will be in your future. Please take a look at us at http://warpartygames.net. Once again, thank you very much.